with me here in the studio. Well, listen, we heard you, Mike, a little bit earlier on talking to Andre Ward about Virgil Hunter, the man, his trainer, who has been a huge influence on his career, and I think he's on the line now.
Yes, he is. He's here, yeah.
Yeah. Virgil, how are you?
I'm very much fine. How are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Tell us a bit about your man. How much of a big deal is Saturday night for him? We know it's a massive deal for Carl Froch, the biggest fight of his career probably. How does it stack up for Andre Ward?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's an equal big deal for both of the gentlemen. And of course, to single Andre out, it's the culmination of the tournament also, but the beginning of the rest of his career. So it's something that when we entered the tournament, we were determined to achieve. We're one fight away from achieving it. And the type of kid Andre is, I don't know how much it would affect him in terms of expressing his joy. He seems to more or less I think he'll get a grasp of his career after it's all said and done. But I know it's going to be a tremendous gratification for him.
Virgil, at the outset of the tournament 2 years ago, did you believe that Froch would be the man in the opposite corner come the final?
Well, let me say I'm not surprised. He's the man in the final corner. We looked at each and every participant in the tournament as being a dangerous foe, a capable foe, even though I think there were some different viewpoints as far as the young Americans, and rightfully so, based on their maturity and the number of fights they had in their experience. But you can't count out anybody at the time that was undefeated. Of course, we had a chance to see him in the Pascal fight and also the Jermaine Taylor fight, which tells you a number of things, which tells you that he'll grit it out, and which tells you that he'll never quit. So when you have those two ingredients, of course, you're not surprised at all to see him in the finals.
Now, last week were covering the fight between Amir Khan and Lamont Peterson down in Washington, D.C., and a lot was made of the background of Lamont Peterson and how that's reflected in the way he fights, that he lived off the streets. I know Andre Ward's background's not quite like that, but he did lose his dad at 16 and had been raised solely by his dad. What did that do to him, and how much of that kind of background influences the kind of man and fighter he is?
Well, unbeknownst to a lot of people, Andre Ward was raised up in the ghettos of Oakland. But he never was succumbed to the ghettos of Oakland, the temptations and all the surroundings of it. But he's very well rehearsed with that particular part of life, and he's seen the good and bad that type of life can bring to you. So quite naturally does have some influence in who he is today, because when you come through certain periods and times in your life, you never forget it, and there are things that you want to move on beyond and past. So it did have a effect, but not the maximum effect, but it is a part of his life. And to see Lamont come through, knowing what he's been through, we've been knowing him since he's 10 years old, and Anthony and Barry, it was a great thing to see. And
we were talking earlier to Robert McCracken, who sounded pretty subdued. You do as well, Virgil. Is it just that you're at this stage of the build-up, you just want the first bell to ring now?
Well, yeah, it's the culmination of a lot of weeks and days, and, with the cut and setback and things like that. What you see is pretty much me. I do get excited and laugh and things like that, but of course you hit it right on the head. Counting down to Saturday is something that it gives you a peace. I'm at peace, and when I'm at peace, I pretty much express how I feel. So that's probably what you're detecting.
And we saw on Twitter the cut was quite a bad one. 7 weeks enough for it to heal, and were you pushed to make sure the fight happened this side of Christmas?
No, not at all. We weren't pushed to make it happen at this particular date. We personally wanted it to happen before 2012. We knew, we were going to have to give up one of the holidays, so I think Thanksgiving is easier to give up than Christmas. So with Christmas just being a few days away, we're looking forward to celebrating that.
Virgil, Andres, you guys started the tournament as one of the bigger underdogs. at the start of the tournament. I think it was the two Andres that were the biggest underdogs, Dirrell and Andre Ward. I think mainly because of their lack of professional experience as compared to the rest of the fighters in the tournament. But you guys opened the tournament defeating the tournament favorite in Mikkel Kessler, and since then you've reeled off one great win after another. Is there some sort of chip on the shoulder of Andre, like as far as he's got something more to prove, like his respect is not being given yet, unless he wins this whole tournament?
Well, I think it's a healthy chip. It's not a negative chip at all, and I'm kind of glad that it's there, and it arises from, I don't think he ever felt like he got credit for the Kessler win. Coming in as being the underdog, achieving what he achieved, and then all of a sudden, you have a man get old overnight, or he's overrated. So rather than give him the credit that he rightfully deserved for beating him, it was more or less they downgraded Kessler. So that quite naturally can put a chip on your shoulder, but it's a healthy chip. And then, the situations, he's the only guy in the tournament where two of the original opponents pulled out, so he had to fight replacements. Some of the criticism for fighting home when there was no other choice. If he would have fought Jermaine Taylor, it would not have been in Oakland, California. If he would have fought Andre Dirrell, it would not have been in Oakland, California. Alan Green and Sakio Bika really had no filing or venue that you could really come to that would make boxing in financial sense. Yeah. So we had to fight at home. So I think some of those things, he does acknowledge it to the point to where, you keep that healthy chip on your shoulder.
Listen, Virgil, best of luck for you on Saturday. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us tonight.
You're very welcome.
That's Virgil Hunter, the trainer of Andre Ward. We've got about a minute and a half left, guys. So quick predictions from you. Steve, where's this going to be won or lost on Saturday?
I think it's going to be won and lost with speed and mobility, and that big right hand that Hunter was referring to there that Ward threw in the Kessler fight. And I just fear that Carl's going to eat a lot of them, and he's going to have trouble with the speed and mobility like he did when he fought Andre Dirrell. And I fancy Ward to win a tight one. Oh, it'll be ugly again.
Paulie, what do you think?
I take Andre Ward. I take Andre Ward by unanimous decision. I think they're evenly matched in a lot of ways, both mentally strong, both tactically very good fighters. I just think it's going to come down to Andre being the little bit better fighter overall.
And Mike, your predictions to round us off tonight on 5 Live Boxing?
Yes, I do think that the sharpness and the ring generalship of Andre Ward will be enough here. I do think that Carl Froch might ask some questions that he hasn't been asked before, but he'll find the answers, and I think we'll see Andre Ward going on to be something pretty special.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed, guys. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Don't forget you can